Thank you for being a part of our study today. We're still in Isaiah 33. Great chapter, kind of tough, but it's an important one. We're going to talk about, first of all, the negative. Treaties broken, oaths are despised, obligation is disregarded. Because of that, the land mourns. Rudy, what do you think you mean by the treaty is broken?
The treaty that is broken is the one that was given 50 days after they crossed the Red Sea, and that was the Ten Commandments.
Okay. So when we break God's guidance, when we break His direction, it breaks us. Just like if I'm looking over at Miami Ice, if I jumped off the roof, you'd have to get a shovel and pick me up. Okay? Just call 911 when you see me climbing up. The same is true when we break the Ten Commandments.
Yes.
So we break those, it breaks us. And the Lord says that I will rise, I'll lift myself up. I will be exalted. There's a time when God shows Himself, right?
Yes.
And He says, you can receive chaff, and you're going to be nothing more than stubble. It goes back to Psalm 1 just always gets me. The unrighteous are nothing more than chaff. And I have never walked through a cemetery. I've been through lots of cemeteries doing funerals. I've never walked through and seen a grave marker that said his life was nothing but chaff. So it can be. God arises, He comes to deal with us. He says, hear you who are far away, what have I done? And you who are near, acknowledge my might. The sinners of Zion, they're afraid. Who can live with a devouring fire? Who among us who can live with an everlasting flame? Well, who can live with a devouring fire?
No one. Not in a life that is united with the King of the universe. The second death is what's being really explained here. And even from Isaiah 4, Isaiah was told that the final judgment on the earth will be by a spirit of fire.
Yeah.
And that spirit of fire continues for those who have rebelled against the Lord. I have no idea who those people are. Seems to me that I've broken enough laws in my life that I might be there, but Jesus says I'm not. So I have to trust that He knew who I am, and I wish I was better, but I'm not. But still, He loves us. The whole universe was created because God so loved the world. And again, He said He started at the end and came back to the beginning. So He knew what He wants.
Right.
And basically, it was going to take some assembly of our spirit with His for us to be in eternity with Him and not fall like a third of the angels.
Yeah. And so He defines those people. He says they're the ones who walk righteously, who speak uprightly, who despise the gain of oppression, who wave away a bribe instead of accepting it, who stop their ears from hearing of bloodshed, and shut their eyes from looking on evil. They'll live on the heights, their refuge will be the fortress of rocks, their food will be supplies, and their water assured. Just what you were saying, Rudy, about you and me and everybody else. We are completely lost. This is something we don't do on our own, but when we meet Jesus Christ, He becomes alive in our lives. We become more like this model. It changes. You can't live in a relationship with Jesus and oppress other people. If you oppress other people and think you're living with Jesus, you're mistaken. And so He changes us. He makes us new. He makes us different. I don't come to Him and say, Lord, look, I've done all these things. I am righteous. No, I'm a sinner who's been saved by His grace.
Amen.
Well, last word on that?
Well, I'm always thinking back to the desert experience, and there was 2 million people in the desert for those 40 years, and there was no food. They didn't have time to grow anything. There was no water there, but he provided food, manna, and the rock is where the water came from. So it all looks like that in the world, and unless we understand that he actually can, when we get between a rock and a hard place in our life, he is able to provide. When I look back at that situation and millions of people survived, I know that even if this world gets into the same shape that it was in Egypt before they left for all the peoples, that he will be able to provide again water and food. So as bad as the world seems to be turning, he is still able.
Right, absolutely. Thank God for that. Rudy, thanks for being here, and thank you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow. God bless you. Have a great day.
You know.